Okay, this is my favorite movie of this year. I said something in a previous video. I take that back. When I watched this with my parents, we loved every minute of it because we caught on to a lot of things this movie had. Like, the family in the movie and the experiences that they have are similar to what we have experienced. Like, they told stories similar to ours, they told jokes similar to ours, they did activities that we did before. And I think, most importantly, they had this idea of family that a lot of us actually believe, at least somewhat. So I'm kind of happy that this story is finally being told. Yes, it's an Asian family, and it's worth it seeing the difference in dynamic between this one and families in the US, for example. But most importantly, it tells it in the perspective of an Asian American in their 20s, quite similar to me. And if you're like me and you watch this movie, you'll get that feeling instantly. Like, there's the awkwardness, the cultural differences that you have to settle in your head, the manner in which your elders talk to you. It's quite similar to what I've had to deal with. But I'm not really going to go into detail on that because I want to focus on the movie. So, the story is based on the director's own life. Her grandmother also deals with a disease. She's still alive. And the family doesn't tell her that she has it. They take extreme lengths to hide it from her. And despite her having something that she doesn't know she has, she still has pep in her step. She's still lively. Like, in the movie, she is willing to have conversations with other people in the family. You know, she's willing to keep it going. And she still moves well. And she may be old, but she still is a normal human being and is still willing to talk about things and say things, especially what's on her mind. And yeah, she is a fun character. And I think that's what drives the premise home, because the family, they see her and how happy she is to see them, despite them making an excuse to see her again. But the conflict comes in, like, what happens if you tell the truth? Will you have that same experience? If you have that same experience ever again? Will you ruin it for her? Will she feel the same way she did when she didn't know? Those questions are asked throughout the movie, and you can tell that there really isn't a straight answer. I think someone in the movie said it best. Like, there was a quote, if it's someone's burden, it's everyone's burden. And that's where the idea of family comes into play. Because really, this movie says that, yeah, it's shady, but what they're doing isn't exactly wrong. Because their reasoning for doing it is meant to see, you know, to is meant to make sure that the grandma is still happy to see them in their lives. You know, make sure that like they haven't forgotten her. Which brings us to the main character and what the lie means to her. And I think they got the best person to play the role. Like, I'm a big fan of Awkwafina, but I think you'll be convinced that about it, because the main character is from New York, you know, is struggling with her job, and so she's trying to find her way individually. And add the lie on top of that, she's trying to find her place in the family. And that, you know, those two ideas come into conflict with each other. Because the moment she tries to discuss it with any member of her family, it's, you know, she loves her grandma, but is she willing to love her so much, love her enough to keep this, you know, facade going? And it is difficult for a lot of people, and I think it must have been difficult for the director. So with the main character, you do understand her side of the story as well, because, you know, first off, she hasn't seen her grandmother in years, and the least as she wants to be is just be honest with her, you know, at the fact that, you know, she's not exactly doing all right, and you know, feeling that this may be the last time with her grandmother, but she can't tell her that. And yeah, it goes deep with her character, but it also goes with a lot of characters. For example, both parents, like especially the mom, she has a lot on her plate as well. She, you know, she herself kind of felt the same way her daughter did. And the father, on the other hand, he's a lot more sympathetic to her. And I think that's what makes it very important to to the family, because, you know, everyone kind of deals with it in their own personal way. For example, there's another grandson and they're making up this excuse that the grandson wants to get married, and the wedding is the reason that they're here with grandma. And the grandson, he has a lot of good stuff in this movie. Like, the way the grandma sees their relationship with his fiancée is really hilarious. But he ends up becoming like a really great character when the wedding takes place. Like, for example, he he and his wife are trying to sing karaoke in Japanese, and he's struggling with the words. They're playing games, and he's having trouble trying to trouble trying to keep up. So he loses, and he drinks, and and he loses a lot. So by the end, he's like a nervous wreck. And you're not sure if you're not sure if he's like, by the time we get to the family portrait, the family photo, it's like he starts crying, and like the whole family's like, oh, come on. And you don't know if he's crying because he's this is the last time he'll probably see his grandma, or he's getting married because they decided that this was decided that they should there is a lot of funny moments like that, but like there's also the subtle moments that are hilarious. Like, for example, when the main character is talking with her uncle, I think, and they're walking to to an apartment. He's briefing her on what's going on, and she's like, I know. So yeah, there's a lot to love about this movie. And I'm kind of happy that the route they took wasn't straight drama, because really I think they there is still dramatic moments, but everything is played with a light heart. And given the purpose of the movie and the characters, the best thing you can do is have a light heart to it. And there is a revelation in the end credits about the director's own grandmother. And I guess you can tell that it paid off in real life as much as it did in the movie. Even though it's hard to really say goodbye to your grandmother, pun intended. Because you never know what's gonna happen. So you might as well like even if you have a weight off your shoulders, you have to pretend you don't have it.